It's Bobbbaaaay, and we back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Purpose in the Youth podcast with your favorite bearded man, Bobbbaaaay. We are in Venice Beach, California. Today on the show, I got my man, Jeremiah Davis, also known as That One Blonde Kid. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm stoked to be here.
I'm happy to be here, bro. If I could have done this in a flying airplane with you jumping out of it, I would have easily done it like that.
Let's do it, dude. Let's get this going in the middle.
Rap.
United
Jumps
Airlines
out.
middle scene. Yeah.
You're crazy, man. Your content is unreal. And the fact that you're only 24, we come from a very similar college situation of just not getting a job and just following through with a passion. I am so excited to be here, man, to like really get into your story and kind of see why is it that you're doing what you're doing today.
Sick, dude. I'm pumped to be here. The energy is in the room, man.
We're gonna get it.
You're crushing it. You're crushing it.
I hope you guys are ready for this one. This is gonna be a good talk. Who is Jeremiah Davis today, and how young is he?
And how young is he?
Yeah.
24 years old. 24 years young.
Yep.
We're talking about how young. Yeah. That's the purpose in the youth.
You gotta be smart, man.
I live in Venice Beach. I'm here half the year. The other half of the year, roughly, is scattered. It's not like one half and the other half. But I basically travel as a videographer and content creator for influencers, individuals, artists, and brands that are willing to take a risk and try doing something a little bit innovative on typically social or digital platforms.
Yeah, and not to say chain smokers, but I mean that's huge.
It's huge. Yeah,
especially with the success they've had over the last couple of years.
Definitely,
a great group of guys I would imagine to be working with.
Yeah,
and I'm excited to kind of get into some of that in a little bit. Take me back to where you grew up.
I grew up in a tiny town called Claremont, California, which is like 20 minutes east of where I went to school, which is Azusa Pacific University. And it was a smaller, kind of wealthier town, kind of like very green, hippie.
Yeah. Typical California.
Yeah,
just
but like real, like imagine like Venice Beach, like the LA, like green side, but like 50 and 60-year-olds that are still owning that.
Yeah.
You know, like not like because of trend, but because like we really believe in it. And like we're founding these organizations that like are really like planting trees and it's literally called like Claremont City of Trees. But it was cool. I played baseball actually growing up my entire life.
Did you?
Like it ended up being like a huge baseball town because like my group of kids like that were my age, we just were like destroying all the local scenes.
You guys were
like,
nice about it.
Baseball was like my vibe growing up and like never actually picked up a camera until end of high school.
That's crazy. That long you went without even touching it. Did you grow up with any brothers, sisters?
Yeah. So I've got 3 older brothers, and the one that was directly older than me, we actually clicked like in high school and we became like best friends. And he was doing camera since like I was since he was 12, I was 10 playing baseball, and he was like always filming me, and like I was just my brother's always filming. I would help him out with his projects, and then he was making good money for like a high schooler, which is like he's making a couple $100. He made like $1,000, but I'm like, yo, you're doing like $1,000 project as a high schooler, like how can I get in on this? And then like obviously I didn't want to like jack what he was doing, but I was like, I'll do photo because you're not doing photo. So
yeah,
that was my intro.
What was one of the biggest struggles you had as a kid? Thinking back, anything big that jumps to your mind?
Biggest struggles?
Yeah.
Man, I feel like I have such like a positive, like looking back on it, like people could say like money was like a struggle, like because I just didn't have a ton of money and resources, but that's also like a benefit. A lot of people that are very successful today say that like not having money handed to them or all the resources and they had to work for it, they learn to appreciate it. And like we were talking about earlier, but like learning how to like fine tune your craft with like the smaller gear and building up so then you can really own that like premium gear, whatever it is. And so some people could say like that was kind of like a struggle, I think, but ultimately that was like a big motivator for me. That's where I went to college. It's like I didn't want to have a roof over my head as far as like how much I could financially grow in a corporation, because originally I wanted to go corporate. Like
Same story, man. That's what you thought going into college?
Yeah, well, that's the only reason why I went. I'm not like a school guy. I did not get like crazy good grades, but I was like both of my parents didn't actually finish school. They went to college, but they like didn't finish. And my dad was like a couple classes away, and he didn't finish. And so I saw that, and I don't know if that's the case. I haven't really talked to him about it, but it's like I thought if he had graduated college, he could then like grow his business or work with big corporations and just go all the way to the top, and you'd be making a lot more money and like so I was like, I'm gonna go to college, I'm gonna get a degree, so like I will never have a roof over my head of what I can make. and that changed halfway through.
Yeah, and I think it's so important to not be raised in an environment where everything's just handed to you. Like if you're fortunate to have a roof over your head, food on the table, you have older siblings, and everybody's kind of bumping shoulders with one another. You're hungry, 100%. And I think that at the end of the day is what I bet most successful people come from, that same environment of they were provided what they needed to have, but they had an iPhone 6 or they just shot videos, and they could make, as we were saying earlier, like better content than somebody with that $3,000 camera because they were hungry and they were willing to put in the work to see what they could do.
And that's the environment I had. Like my parents were like the most supportive people. My dad, because he wasn't working crazy hours, he was like, teaching me baseball. And like me and my dad spent the most time out of like any of my brothers did with my dad. So like, there's that whole like,
you were the
money
favorite
side.
You were the favorite son.
Well, I mean, I was the best baseball player. Just put it that way. And my dad loved baseball, so like we clicked. And I got to spend so much time with my parents, and they supported me so much. So like very, very amazing upbringing. But being in the city where kids are driving BMWs to high school, and,
dude, that's got to be unbelievable.
Yeah, I drove like a 2-tone truck Ford Ranger that was like literally the bed was green because it got smashed into the back, and we like replaced the bed and we're like, we'll paint it to match the red on the front. It was a red and green truck, and we never changed it because it became iconic. We just made it the cool thing.
Like this is my truck. Yeah. I own it. I don't care what anybody else thinks. Putting $10 just to get down the street. What did your parents do for a living, if you don't mind me asking?
So my mom, both of my parents actually were in financial services with Primerica. So my dad was like, I believe like the vice president of like his branch. He owned like his own like office, and he had a ton of like associates underneath him, and they sold like just different financial services, like investing, like life insurance, like housing investments. And so then when my mom, like all of us started growing up, my mom basically just like dipped out to be a full-time mom. That's what my dad did. And then when like the housing market crashed and there was like the huge recession, like that, like everybody had like a big cutback. But like if you look at the biggest industry that had that, it was like what my dad was doing.
Finance.
Yeah.
Huge
So
issue.
It just like huge cut at him. And so that's what they're kind of doing now. And so now my mom, it's crazy. Like my mom's been a mom for 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
With 4 boys. My oldest brother is like mid 30s. So it's like
she needs to go on like a lifelong vacation now, having to raise
for sure
4 of you guys in one house.
Well, then trying to get back into work, it's just like things in 30 years change, 25 years change, and it's like
that's not easy.
It's crazy, yeah. So she's they just moved right now, but they just got like a really cool big property to host. My brothers are starting to have kids, and
so they're starting to really full circle now.
Yeah, exactly.
Who were you in high school? Were you the pop? You talk baseball, so I would imagine you're maybe a sports type of guy. Were you the quiet one? Were you the popular kid that was kind of running the hallways?
Yeah. So I like came into high school, people thinking like I was like a part of the popular cool scene.
Yeah.
Because like in junior high, that's what I was.
Okay.
But then I didn't drink in high school, and I just my older brother was basically just like, if you're gonna drink, like drink for yourself, and you have like a purpose and a reason why. Like don't just drink because other people are doing it.
Yeah.
And growing up with older brothers.
Oh, that's so much better because you're seeing everything earlier on, and 100%. They kind of lead the way.
Yeah. And so they I saw like. I just got like advice from older people, and then also with older brothers, like they peer pressure you into doing stupid things. And so I learned from a very young age that like if you didn't give people that control, like you really were the one on top. And so I never like gave into peer pressure because I just mastered it with my older brothers.
Yep.
And so people were just like, "Yo, like you should come out and drink." And like if I wanted to drink, I would drink, but I just like kind of didn't really want to. And I just like. Senior year I wanted to, but then it was like I wanted to drink because it was like a cool commodity, like a celebration. Cheers, like let's go to a nice place.
Let's have fun. Let's have a good time.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't really want to drink with these people on that level. And so, anyways, going back and like who I was like the baseball player. I was like tight with a lot of popular kids, but I was like at a distance because I was just like, that's your vibe. Do your thing, 100%. Like I showed up to parties and I like still hung out.
You had to show face, make sure that
100%.
Jeremiah was known.
Yeah, but like also on their respect is like why do you invite this guy that's not gonna like participate in everything? So there was that distance I feel like, and then junior year I left the baseball team to go play with the travel ball team. that was being led by.
So it's completely away from your high school team. This is just,
so like
that's a bigger step forward to get into like the traveling. Obviously,
it's like it's well, you do traveling in off season, but to do it year round was like against the grain.
Yeah,
like there's the traditional. You play high school ball, you play travel ball in the summer, and then you you do the travel thing, and then but you still always play high school ball. And I ditched high school because I didn't like the coaches.
Wow. Peace.
Well, it was like it was just like earn your spot, and I was doing everything I could do to earn it, and they just like
didn't care.
It was just weird. Even the people that were playing, all my friends like did not like the high school coaches. So it was like, why are we
even here? Let's just keep everybody pack up your bags.
Like let's get out of here. Yeah, and so I went and played, and I played with an academy where they had like an 80% turnover to like getting drafted. And so I went and played, and a lot of my friends from high school too got drafted and are still playing today. And so I went and played this with this academy, and it was a blast. And then I got a scholarship for 70% to a specific university, which my year they recruited me, they bumped up a division.
Wow.
To NCAA or like to D2. So we're a D3 school, went up to D2. That's when things start getting more strict, and there's rules on how you recruit, and you have to fit inside a certain budget. And they recruited all incoming freshmen with the old system, thinking it was the same thing.
And it wasn't.
So the NCAA was like, hey, you didn't have any new recruits. And they're like, yeah, we've got 7. And they're like, well, you didn't process it, and the deadline's passed. Now you have no, like, you can't play any of them? You can play them. You can't give them money. Like, you have no scholarship money for them. So all of our scholarships got ripped after signing to the school. They only give out 70% scholarships. So I signed on for the other 30% at a private Christian school that was
a lot of money.
So like I basically signed up for like 25 grand.
Okay.
Like that I didn't have in loans.
We'll just figure it out.
And I had scholarships to all these other places, like like all over Southern California. Like I was talking with Hawaii, and like I turned it all down to go to the school, and like they screwed me, and I was already committed financially. So I was livid, man. Like I low-key, like I cried that night. Like I've never like cried like in high school. I was just like, yo, this is life.
Because you just locked yourself into something that you can't get out of. Yeah. And now this is gonna cost you 10x what it was supposed to cost you.
Yeah. And I was like, now I'm not like I worked my whole life to get college paid for school. Like I worked my butt off to get there, and I remember my parents were just like, well, what do you want to do? Like, do you want to leave and take on these loans and take loans off in another place? Like, I don't know if they have the scholarship still available for you because you told them no. Or you go and you walk on, you play a year for free. And all the coaching staff left too.
They all left.
Yeah, so the people that I liked that were recruiting
who you were building their relationships with.
Were leaving. And so now it was just like from scratch. Like you had to reprove yourself. And I was just like, I was livid. Or my dad's like, you can just take a year off and see how it goes, and then just
see how
where sophomore year goes or whatever. And I was just like, what do I do? My dad's like, whatever you want to do, like we're gonna support you. And I was just like, no father that teaches the kid baseball for like 10 years says, like, do what this is you, man. Like, I'm gonna support you, which is like what you want your dad to say.
But at that moment in time, you're also like, what do I do?
It was like one time in like my teens where I was just like, I wanted my parents to tell me what to do. I was just like, no, you guys are the ones supposed to know, and they didn't. And I was like, I've got to go. I grabbed a longboard and I just went and like cruised around Claremont, and I like lost my crap, and I was livid. But what was cool was like, I think I just got over it that night. I was like, I'm gonna take a year off. I'm gonna chill and just like freaking live life, do what I want to do. And like I ended up picking up surfing and stuff, and like kept myself busy. And I was doing photo and stuff at the time, and I was like, I'm just gonna keep shooting more. Like I enjoy that. But like you look at people that play sports their whole life, they get injured and they just end their career. Like, it's
horrible.
That next year is like filled with depression.
Yeah, because they're seeing everybody go back to that sport, and
you can't do it.
There's nothing you can do about it.
You're riding the bench. You're like, because you want to come back and do it, but like your body can't just recoup from it, or you can never get back. And so I never had that, which is crazy. And I feel like it was half like I just out of sight, out of mind. That's kind of like how my body works and my brain works. But I feel like I got over it that night. Like I just really processed through it and was just like, this sucks. And like, it's also not the end of the world. Like,
it's okay. Everything's going to be all right. Maybe this is happening for a reason.
And I had the passion to go pro, but like I knew like probably like the concept of it happening was very rare. And also like, the money wasn't great when you start out, and like you would probably leave school, have no education, go to the minor leagues, dip out. So anyways, I had like a brother check up. One of my brothers was like, "Yo, man, like you're just chilling. Like it's like 6 months after like you haven't played any baseball, and like
what's the play?
Like I know you're doing like you're doing really cool things on the weekend, but like is this like you or is this you like hiding or like what is this?" And I was like, "Dude, like I'm chill. Like I'm mad.
The most
like,
Southern California. I'm chill, man."
Which is weird. I was like, "Yo, it sucks, but like if you just play out the storyline, like it doesn't end well. Like it ends up with me being like 27." Leaving the minor leagues with no money or education and no friends because I was on the road the whole time.
Yeah.
So I was just like, in reality, this is probably good. Like, it's probably best for me just to like start crushing it in what I really want to do.
So is that when you started to focus really on the camera and start taking videos and pictures? And what was fun? Like, because I know, which we'll get into real soon, it was springtime of your senior year when things started to kind of fall into place. But what were you doing in the meantime to get yourself better? Like, what was the inspiration? Just create, or was there like a game plan for you?
I think freshman year was like just like live college type of thing. You know, like go to every activity you could go to, like get involved, hang out with as many people as possible. And then I started surfing a ton, and I just got like mad into it. And I had like really cool like 2 friends that were always surfing that were way better than me, like really good teachers. And I had been surfing a little bit before that. So we were like waking up for sunrise, surfing, coming back for class.
That's so amazing.
And I kind of just became like this weekend warrior where I was just like doing fun stuff every weekend. And like some of my friends were like, I had like this one girl was like, "Hey, like you should be around more. Like you're just not around on the weekends. And like, you're like, it's not
just being adventurous.
That's not cool." And I remember like it clicked right there. Like I like got clarity on like who the girl was going to be when I dated in my future. I was like, the girl I date is going to be one that like can keep up with what I'm doing, but also has like their own passions that are just as big as mine.
Is doing their own thing.
Yeah, because I was like, well, that girl, what she just told me, I was like, is so wrong, and like made me so mad. And I was like, I'm having.
She's not the one. Yeah. You're not the one.
And so I was like, this is So anyways, that was like kind of like the fun thing. And then after freshman year, I applied for everything, like every like extracurricular summer thing. Like I applied for 2 camps, I applied for 2 study abroads. I applied for like an on-screen mentor or like an on-campus mentorship for the incoming freshman when you're a sophomore. You're like, and I got everything. Like I got every camp wanted me, and I was like, wow, this is a great problem to have. But I was like, if I want to play baseball next year, I can't do any of these. And basically I had like study abroads in South Africa and Fiji lined up. And then a summer trip backpacking through Spain. Basically we walk across the entire country of Spain. For over 33 days. It's like a famous trail called El Camino de Santiago. It's over 600 miles. It's insane. It's like a gnarly feat that like a rare few people in the world ever do. Yeah. But it's just like the most like epic trail where just like mad commodity. Like you meet other people. Like we and you would
Everybody's there on the same.
Like I would walk by you on this trail and I'd be like, yo, what's up? And like if you spoke English, we would like
have a conversation.
Hey, nice day, man. Yeah, where you going? Like are you eating soon? And like if you were eating, you're like, oh, I'll meet you in the next town. And you'd walk through like this vineyard for like 5 miles, and then you would come across another town. And everybody kind of has a similar map. And
it's a different way of life.
You would sit for like 2 hours and just have a lunch for 2 hours and just sip wine, like have some bread. It was amazing. It was a different way of living. And so like I ended up just saying like, I'm going to go do this travel thing. So I did the summer program, or I did the summer backpacking thing. I met my roommate now, my day-to-day manager, Reese, and he me and him walked like half the trail together. We didn't really know each other. We knew of each other from school, but we didn't. So we like got on this trip.
That's an easy way to bond when you guys are just walking
everybody.
through like that.
And we did with 9 other guys from our school.
Oh, man.
And I barely knew any of them. And we just sent it, and we stay at hostels every night. So that was epic. And then you start in France. You go over the border the first day. You go all the way there. And then we ended up like taking a bus down to Portugal for a week afterwards and just kicked it on the beach. So amazing. France, Spain, Portugal. Came back for 2 months and then went to South Africa for 3 months. So we did 2 months out in Pietermaritzburg, and then we did all of our classes there. Yeah. And then we went to Cape Town for a month.
That's got to be such an eye-opening, because this is obviously, I'm guessing, your first time outside the country, these trips? Or?
So I did one trip junior year of college.
Okay.
My grandmother actually travels more than I do.
Really?
She's 79 right now.
She's killing it.
She was like 77. I think she spent 310 days on the road.
Wow.
Yeah.
So she's just living. Yeah, she's just living the life.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Which is crazy. So she's always taken all of my brothers out. Like when they were 13, it was like, I'm going to take you out on an international trip.
That's amazing.
Because I was playing baseball, mine got pushed back till I was
You were too
junior.
busy.
And so, yeah, so I mean, so we did South Africa, which was crazy. It was amazing. I actually met my girlfriend there. So our school bring over 50 students to a private campus, like they own property there. Mm-hmm. So it was all APU students going over to South Africa.
Everybody knew everybody.
Kind of. I mean, not really. We all came from the same school. So it was
how big was the school?
It was like 6,000 undergrads.
Still big enough that you're not going to get to know everybody.
Yeah. So you got to know the 50 people, but I didn't know anybody going into it really. I knew like of one person. Mm-hmm. And so I met my girlfriend who was like a senior at the time. I was a sophomore. We just like kind of like kicked it off in South Africa, and then we started dating when we got back to the States. I was back for 2 months, and then went to Fiji for 5 months. And I was just like so stoked. And like I remember my brother was like, why Fiji? Like kind of like, yo, you're out of control. Like,
slow it down a little bit. Slow it down a little bit.
And he asked me, he goes, why? Like, why Fiji? Like, why? What's the purpose? And I was like, does there really need to be a purpose to like go somewhere cool? Like sometimes you just want to like the opportunity's there. I'm going to get school credit done. Like I'm not postponing
checking things off the list.
I'm like moving forward in life. But I was like, there was no like intrinsic, like I wasn't doing anything with organizations, and there was no like deeper things. Just like, so why are you doing it? I was like, not everything needs to like have that. So I went to Fiji for 5 months. I took the minimum amount of classes. I think I took like 3 or 4. I think I took 3 classes, and we surfed like 3-4 times a week. We like made friends with local fishermen that got like the cheapest boat rides out.
Oh man,
that
just sounds so different than what we are used to living here in the U.S. You know,
it's cool.
It's so easy to get caught up in the trap of like, I feel like we're in the U.S., which is a great place to grow up, great place to live.
Yeah.
We're always about fast paced. What's next? What are we doing today?
Yeah.
We never get a chance to just step back like Fiji or Spain or France, where they kind of feel like they almost really just enjoy life and live it for what it is. Talk to me about sliding into the DM of Rory Kramer. For people that don't know, just Google the name. If you don't know who Rory Kramer is, he's very, very talented. He's worked with Justin Bieber, Kanye West. He's now behind MTV's Dare to Live. How important was it that you just tossed yourself into that DM, not even knowing if this guy was even going to respond to you? Because most people won't do it. I throw the Hail Marys all the time. Hey, do this podcast, hit me up. Talk to me about this experience.
Yeah, so like basically fast forward to senior year, and I'm now over like wanting to go into corporate, and I'm like really driving home me wanting to do like just I want to make content for myself and like stuff that I think is cool and just see where that goes. And Facebook just acquired Instagram, and the first feature that they rolled out was DM. Okay. And so like you now look at the space of social media, and everyone's kind of bitter, like, oh, Facebook's going to ruin Instagram. Instagram's great.
They got nervous. People were getting nervous.
They released their first feature, and it's an instant messenger. And it's just like, oh, they're blowing it. Like, what is Facebook doing? And like my mentality was like, why do I need this if I can just message everyone I want on Facebook? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like they're literally just making the same, like they're just taking it over. And then I like realized it was like, well, nobody's using it because nobody likes it. And so I just basically was like, I'm going to start networking, like collaborating with people and like getting on their projects. And so I made it a thing where I was going to DM at least 3 people every single night before bed. I'm like literally
just people that you looked up to, or just random people.
Dude, it could be random. Like it could be very random. Just like people I have been following and I don't know who they are, but it's like, oh, I like this. Like, just let's DM them.
Sign it
through. And what was crazy is I would say 2 and 3 people were getting back to me, which is nuts.
Well, if nobody's doing it, it's a little bit easier to respond.
Yeah, so like I remember the third night, I was like, people are getting back to me. Like, this is crazy. Like Chris Burkard was getting back to me. I don't know if you know who that is, but he's like crazy, like he's more like traditional photographer, but like legendary, can do magazines, can do his own books. He does his own tours, like photography workshops.
The real deal.
He's like a more of like what you would think of like a National Geographic.
Okay.
Like you don't really know who he is, but you've like seen his work before. And if he like was at a bookstore or anything, he would like pull a crowd that of like a really quality crowd. Like you could have like all these vloggers pull a crowd, and it's just like tweens and like fangirls, where you're gonna pull like people that are like really passionate about photography and actually doing it.
Genuine
like,
following. It's not just about the entertainment of what they're doing. It's the true passion of it.
It's like if social media died tomorrow, this guy would be crushed.
He's still good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's getting back to me, and like not all of them were positive though. Not all of them were like, a lot of them were just like, hey man, like I don't have anything for you now. Like let's stay in touch. Here's my email, or here's blah blah blah. And it was like people giving me like their emails and like, yo, like please reach out whenever you're like, I moved to the East Coast. Like let me know when you're in New York or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is awesome. So I'm like documenting everything, and I'm like, why is this working? I was like, nobody's using it, right? And so like in a sense, at that moment in time, like you could reach out to Taylor Swift, right? And say Taylor Swift at the time has 3 million followers and 10% of her following is doing it. It's like you're one of, you know, a couple thousand people, which if you're talking about celebrities and the president and everything, like to be 1 in 1,000 is like crazy odds.
Yeah. There's a chance. There is a chance.
Yeah, for sure. And then you just downplay that down to smaller content creators, and you're the 1 in 20, you know? And then at that time, it just basically becomes on who can write the most effective, punchy email, which I had gotten experience at an advertising agency prior to that. So I used that. I basically tossed over a DM to Roy Kramer, and I said, hey man, like I saw his Justin Bieber video. He did a I'll Show You music video in Iceland, and people were telling me like Chris Picard had directed it. And to me, Chris Picard's a photographer, not a videographer. I was like, why is he directing video? This is insane. So I went over and I was like, who directed this? And I look at the caption, it says Roy Kramer. I was like, I know that name from something. And then I was like, I'm pretty sure that was Blau's videographer. He was a smaller DJ that I was really into freshman year.
Oh, I think everybody in freshman year
right?
of college was
mashups.
Oh my god,
mashups. That's our year. Yeah. So like, there was
day.
always this kid down the hall that was just bumping, and I was like, yo, this mashup
This
bombs.
is
Like, it's
sick.
sick.
Yeah.
And I remember Roy's videos, and I was like, this is cool. And then he was working with Justin Bieber, and I'm like mind blown. Like Blau is like a smaller DJ. Justin Bieber's like
he's a whole nother level.
And I'm like, how on earth did they get there? So I just DM'd him. I was like, hey man, congrats. Like I just stumbled upon you. Like I haven't seen your work in 4 years. You've just crushed like the last 4 years. Like amazing. So let me know if like you ever need help on videos. Like I'll carry bags. Like I'll do whatever. And he saw it, didn't respond, which is
it said seen. So you knew he saw it,
which is amazing. And then I just like broke down like the science of it. I was like, what did I say to him? And like, if I said it to him or like if somebody said that to me, how would I react? And in my mind, like I'm not responding to what I said, because basically I said, I'll carry your bag, which if Rory wasn't the type of person to carry his own bag on that day, like he wouldn't be there. Like, right. So it's like, Rory doesn't need someone to carry his bag. Let's collaborate. Right. What does that even mean?
You're leeching.
Yeah,
like when you're saying that, if you don't have any value to bring to the table.
Yeah, exactly. There's no value, and you're asking the other person to work. Because say he does have needs, now Rory has to go and say, okay, like how can I apply this guide?
He has to think through. He has to think it through.
Now he has to set, you know, he's wherever he is in the world, he has to now take time for you to loop you in, which doesn't make sense and doesn't happen. So 2 days later, I just like followed up. Follow up also was a huge thing I learned. It's like, people are busy. Sometimes he just read it and was like, this is genius. This is a great email. I'm going to get back to this like and properly respond. Forgets about it like a human.
Million other things going.
Yeah. So like follow up is huge. And I basically said like, hey man, you don't have drone footage in any of your videos. I fly a drone. Like, let me know if you ever need drone footage. I'll do it for free. And I'm like on call. And he like responds and said like, what are you doing next week? And I was like, I'm free Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And it was like a Friday at that time. So it was like, you know, a couple days away. And then we were doing like the one message a day type of thing. Yeah. And it came to Saturday and he was like, text me tomorrow. Like text me. Or he sends me his number.
His number?
Yeah. And so I'm like,
we're making progress.
This might happen. Like this might happen. This is crazy. And at this moment, like I haven't really followed Rory, right? Like I just saw his stuff. I really appreciated what he did. He made it like I remembered him 4 years ago, so obviously he was doing cool work. He worked with Justin Bieber, and now I'm talking to him, but I haven't like done the crazy stalking. I haven't seen like everything he was doing, and he. So then Sunday night, he's like, "You want to do tomorrow?" And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Might as well. And then he's like, I was like, what are we shooting? And he's like for a personal video, like it's like me out in nature. I was like, awesome. So he's like, we're just gonna do a hike. Like, do you want to do sunrise or like early morning for good light? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. He's like, well, how? Like, when can you be in Malibu? I was like, well, let's just do sunrise if we want to get good light, which is like
early.
It's a rough. And at the time, it's like a 2-hour drive for me.
So you gotta get up.
And it's a Monday, and I had class all day too. So I was like, the days I told him I had class every single one of those days, those were just the classes that were like I had missed them the least, and I wasn't gonna like fail.
You could take a loss on one of these days.
Yeah. But I was skipping. I think I skipped like 3 classes that day, Like it was a full day of classes, and I got up I think at like 3:30 in the morning, and I just like drove, and
to
I'm
Malibu,
like
not knowing.
jackets and beanie and like and I had to like skate to my car to like where it was parked on campus, and yeah, and he was like, "Are you sure? Like you're coming out for free, you're gonna wake up mad early, you're gonna drive 2 hours, and just to like shoot."
You're
and I was like,
committed.
"Yeah, 100%, let's do it," and we went. He's like, all right, dope. Pick me. I was like, you want to meet at a Starbucks or like meet at the location? And he was like, just pick me up at my house. And I was like, amazing, great. Tosses me his address, and I'm like, this is insane. So I go up, meet him at his house or whatever, and he's like, what's up, man? I'm Rory, and like shakes my hand, like super.
Yeah, no
professionally.
shit, you're Rory. I know who you are.
It's like still dark out, so we go and we go do the sunrise thing, and it was pounding windy. It was crazy windy.
Just bad news bears for a drone to go up in the air.
And I was just like, I'm not putting the drone up. Like, there's no way I would ever fly there. But I was like, dude, this is it. Like, I'm. What's funny is I've learned that like not a lot of people are like this, but like in my mind, like if I crash $1,000 drone, like it's still worth it, because like
the opportunity, the relationship,
the chance of it working, like
worth that $1,000.
I would throw $1,000 down on it. Where like a lot of people like would say that, but if you actually think about like $1,000 cash, and being like, here you go. And so I was like, let's just do it, like let's toss it up. And so he was like, man, do your thing. Like, feel free to direct me, like do whatever you want. And so now talking to him, he said like a lot of kids, I realized like a month after that, he met with a lot of kids along the road. Like I then like kind of deep dived in what he's doing. And he's like shown climbing like rooftops with other kids in other cities and stuff. So he met with a lot of people like me. So Roy was doing this frequently, but I was like, none of these kids are like still in touch with them. And I think like basically Rory was just like a lot of these kids don't direct, like they're looking for Rory to tell them what to do. And I was like, yo, like you should run up here on this, like, and there's like these cool rock formations in Malibu. And I was like, you should do this. Okay, I'm going to do this. And then Rory's like, okay, hey, how about we shoot one of these? And I could execute what he was saying.
Yeah.
But so
you weren't scared to actually try to bring your vision to life. Whereas most people I think would step in and be like, tell me what you want, Rory. Tell me how you want me to shoot this. You were confident enough in what you could do.
Definitely.
It's like, hey, I want you to do this. Oh, you want me to shoot this? I can do that. So having that confidence in
100%.
yourself. And from there, it just kept rolling with it.
So yeah, he saw the footage and he was blown away from it. And then actually, there's a guy. Did you ever watch The Buried Life in high school?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh
amazing.
my God! If you didn't watch this is the beauty of being the same age, like all day.
This is the best part though. So one of the guys was at the Snapchat party.
Yes.
That you were doing with Dave Lingwood.
Yes, I knew.
Okay,
I
so
saw him. I was like, who is this guy? And I put it together.
So Dave Lingwood, I had been like, I did recently just followed all the Buried Life guys like the week before, because I was kind of doing this networking thing, like who do I want to work for, who should I reach out to, and I was following him, and he posted a photo the next day of himself like in Malibu, and I was just in Malibu, or I think it was the same day, but we were there for sunrise.
He was there for like sunset or something.
Yeah, it was like a sunset photo. So that night I was like, yo, I was with Rory Kramer today. Totally name drop Rory.
And then in the DM?
Yeah, DM'd him. I was like, yo, I saw you were in Malibu. I was in Malibu today.
With Rory.
And I tossed him a 15-second cut of what we shot, which looks amazing on this drone footage. And I was like, let me know if you want to shoot anytime. Just like super casual. And he like sees it, and he ends up like screenshotting my page, and he sends it to Rory, because he had Rory's number somehow, which I had no idea.
They were connected.
Because I guess Rory was doing the same thing I was doing when he first moved to LA, and Buried Life was popping off. So Rory did the same thing, was like reaching out. So they had each other's numbers. So he's like, hey man, this guy reached out to me. How was shooting with them? Rory responds to the screenshot, or like somehow saves the screenshot and like accidentally sends it to me. Is like, people are talking about you or whatever. And I'm like,
was it a good look or a bad look?
It was good.
Okay.
No, it was good. Like, it was like Rory was like, yo, this is like, people are stoked on you. Like, props to you, dude. Like, people are out asking. And I don't think Dave knew that. Anyways, Dave texted me, he was like, yo, shoot me your number. And I'm like, what the heck? So this is like the next day. I'm now shooting a buddy that's proposing on the beach. So I've like, this guy's DMing me like, toss me your number. Toss him the number. I'm like waiting for them to show up on the beach, because this guy's like gonna be proposing. I have like this huge lens. I have like headphones in. Dave calls me. He's like, hey man, is now a good time? And I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of like shooting my friend get like proposing on the beach, but like honestly, I've got headphones. We could totally have it. He's like, bro, I'll call you back. Like, do your thing.
Do your thing.
Yeah. So we end up talking. We shoot the photos, and it was great and everything. And then he calls me back and was like, hey man, like, let's go for like he's like, I see you surf. Like, let's go for a surf in Manhattan. Like, if you're free this week. So like, end up surfing with him. fast forward, Dave and me are now like homies. He actually helped like manage my Snapchat deal.
Wow.
He is the executive producer, and his company actually produced Roy Kramer's TV show for
Wow.
MTV. So yeah,
that is so amazing how that all just kind of connects like that.
Yeah.
And what's cool, because then what ends up happening is Rory steps into his show, right? And through this connection with Rory, you end up shooting some G-Eazy stuff. It was the Endless Summer Tour footage.
Yeah. Skipped a lot of class for that one too.
That's huge. You know what? Keep skipping, because those are opportunities that are going to pay off.
Yeah.
Even if you fail this class and you're about to get out of college, it's like, screw it.
100%.
So perfect timing, because Rory ends up pivoting. He's working with Chainsmokers a lot.
Yep.
And he's like,
and Roy had been working.
And he had been.
Roy came up with them, like from
he came up with them.
Like dirty bus tours. Like Roy was day one for sure.
So that's like their go-to guy.
Yeah.
And you establish this relationship, not knowing where this is gonna go. Rory steps into his new TV show. They need a camera guy, and who's the new
100%.
guy on the block looking to work?
For sure.
Jeremiah
Davis.
So talk to me about working with the Chainsmokers.
Yeah.
Because that's huge.
100%.
I mean, we're talking some big, as I said in the beginning of the podcast, they have been crushing it these last couple of years. I mean, they performed at my college, at Bentley.
Insane.
Absolutely incredible. Talk to me about them.
Yeah, so I got this question, like, I get this question all the time, where it's like, people are like, why aren't you working with more artists? Like, you've worked with Tiesto, you've worked with Chainsmokers, you've worked with a lot of big guys. Like, why aren't you doing more music stuff? And I typically only shoot 2 guys and occasional like random tour. Partially it's because I don't want to do strictly music.
Yeah.
And the other side is like, I really just want to work with people that I like really vibe with, and I truly think are cool human beings.
Yeah. You could get paid $2 million tomorrow to work with somebody you don't rock with. And what's the value?
For sure.
What are you actually doing it for?
People think different. Like, I also hung out with someone who was like, you wouldn't rather get paid like millions of dollars and work with people that you're not really cool with versus make like a fraction of that. And I was like, I don't know, like, as long as that money's good enough, like, in my quality of living, and I'm really, like, vibing, like, that's the route that I'm going. So,
I'm with you.
Like, Drew and Alex, like, are homies. Like, I've done enough tours with them now. Like, we did an arena tour, and, like, the ticket lady or the lady that's making sure, like, you have your, like, backstage badge that's just, like, sitting there with her big, like, like, warm coat is just, like, not saying a word to anybody, like, giving them high fives when they pass and, like, say hi to them, and just, like, so personable. They're like the crew, the people that are setting up their stages every single night, like busting their butts, like they're tight with them, like taking photos with them, like making sure, like, hey, how are you? Like, so many artists put their head down, they've got a hood backstage, and they just beeline to where they need to go.
They're the superstar. They don't need to talk to anybody.
And what's cool is like they give you like the creative freedom. Like, they'll come back with thoughts and revisions, and like, I'll ask them for input on the front end, or they'll chime in like, hey man, like, this is a dope song I've been vibing to, like, if you can do something with this, it would be tight. But like, to be I was 22 and like have like somebody like them be like, do your thing, like, we trust you, and like, really, like, that's really hard to do as a human even, and like, especially when you have like a brand that's growing and popping off, that there's value to that.
Everything they put out is calculated. They can't just take a piece of
100%.
content that they don't truly back and put it out there and promote it if they're not gonna like it.
And so what they're doing is saying, whatever you make, like, we're gonna really put our name to it. And I was just like, wow, like, that, what an honor. And they do it every single time.
Yeah.
So that's really cool, and that was like a huge thing. And then also, when you're on tour with them, like, you are part of the crew. Like, you're in the car with them, like, you're going to the hotels with them, like, you go to dinner with them. Where a lot of time they could keep you at distance. Like, the photographer could also just be in the production bus or van or on the flight with the production team. But like, they're like, we want you to document our lives, which means like, you're with us, type of thing.
You're coming on the private jets, baby. You're coming on the big leagues.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't all private jets always for them, but like, like, they bring you on, and that's cool, and it really feels like family, and you feel like you have something to bring to the team.
Yeah.
And that's just a positive work environment wherever you're at. So those are 2 guys that obviously are crushing it, and you would stay with them for obvious reasons, but in the behind the scenes, it's like, those are the people that put you up and really take care of you. Like, Alex texted me the other day and like at noon, and was like, hey, we're throwing like a studio house party 2 p.m. like 2 hours in advance, and like, Rory hit me up like 40 minutes later. But it's like, the fact that Alex got to me first before Rory.
Yeah.
In reality, like, Alex probably texted Rory at that same time. It was like an impromptu, like, everybody kind of has a day off, like, come through. Let's have like
that's
a
so
kickback
cool, man.
with like 40 people.
Especially to see these aren't, you're getting texts to come hang out with these guys, and this is now not about business. It's about friendships. It's about relationships. And that's got to be so cool for someone like you who looks up to these guys as creators a couple years ago.
Definitely.
And now these are guys in your contacts, so you could pick up a phone call 100%. Right now, and they're like, "What's up? Like, what up, Jeremiah? What do you need? I'm working right now."
Definitely.
What do you think you've learned the most from working with the Chainsmokers then?
The biggest thing I've learned is, what's funny is like I didn't have like a canned answer for this, and I feel like I'm getting it.
Yeah.
It's very valuable, and it's the fact that like our definition of what hard work looks like, or what busy, the definition of being busy is so to yourself, like it's so like your opinion.
Yeah.
Like you could be like, man, I'm swamped today. Like I've got a podcast with this guy. I got a podcast. I got to upload. I got to cut. I got to do this. But it's just like Drew and Alex probably wrote a song, flew to 3 different countries, and performed once in 48 hours or 24 hours. So it's just like, please tell me like how you're busy when these guys flew across the country. And so being able to see that, it's just like, oh my gosh, like these guys are putting in the hours.
Yeah.
And then not only having to like, and then running with them, you got to be able to keep up and hold your own. And so that's really taught me like,
that's a grind.
For sure. And so you get into that groove of like, yo, this is the day-to-day workload, which is like blows anything back home out of the water, any 9 to 5 out of the water, because you're just doing so much more work. But, you can come home and you get into this groove and you relax and you chill, and then you can then start getting your work in, and you can feel very busy. But if you compare it to like what other people are doing,
man, that's night and day.
It doesn't. Yeah, so we almost get into this groove, and we change our definition of busy every week almost, especially as like a freelancer, because sometimes there's very busy times, sometimes there's not. But we always love to make the day feel busy.
Yeah.
But if we just like redefine it and know like what you are fully capable of, you can really just like fully power.
There's a lot of what I've realized. 24 hours in a day, that's a lot of time.
Yeah.
Like you need to sleep. Don't get me wrong. I'm not, I'm not here to promote and tell people don't sleep. Sleep for an hour and be working 23, but when you really divide up 24 hours in a day and you calculate every minute, you could really get a lot of work done. And
100%.
that's what ends up happening when you're getting to those guys' level, and you're being part of that. Is every minute of their day is calculated. When they're doing 2 shows, like I came across that footage of you guys literally New Year's celebrating in a private jet. Yeah. From one show going to another. Like that's all calculated,
That's crazy.
And
I love that you saw that video.
Oh my God.
That was my first properly, like I was the guy. Like I had helped Rory one time before that on a project for the Chainsmokers. Yeah. It was Rory's project. That was my first like, you're the only camera operator going, you're the only one editing, and you're the one delivering in the next 3 days. Yeah. And it was like and they weren't really flying private at the time, but they did 3 locations. They did 2 locations for New Year's, and they did like the day before they were up in Utah or Yosemite. Not Yosemite. Snow Globe, which is Tahoe. There you go.
Wow.
So, I mean, it was crazy. I'm doing a video right now where I'm trying to show that moment of like literally counting down New Year's in a private jet with like champagne. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is
life could
going
be
to our second show of the night.
Yeah. Life could be a lot worse in moments like that.
It was cool.
Talk to me about the Snapchat Discover. Without Limits, you and your friends traveling around doing crazy shit around the world. Yeah. It came out September 23rd, which is when we low-key met real quick at your launch party. What was that like for you to see that vision come to life?
Oh, I feel like also Rory had like a little bit of this, but like you work so hard for multiple episodes and you build this beast of a thing, and then the release is so fast.
Comes and goes, man.
Just like, especially Snapchat, it's like, it's out for a day and it's gone. Like, holy crap. Like because I wasn't just like doing the whole show for one solid month, but I was basically on tour with Chainsmokers, and I was doing 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off at the time. And on my 2 weeks off, I had to then edit a 5-minute video, which would take anywhere from 40 to 75 hours. And then
40 to 75.
Yeah. And then somewhere I would try fitting in like a 3-day adventure, but also there's like the pre-production of it and figuring out the storyline and getting it approved by Snapchat. So we had like general themes and activities we wanted to do. Yeah. But every one required another character to kind of be involved, or a guest. So, we did shark diving in Fiji with Sam Colder for the first episode, which I had done before when I studied abroad. Yeah. And so you're going back. I was like, I need to go back over there. But that was like a crazy mission. We bought tickets 4 hours before the flight took off, because just the Sam's schedule, and we didn't know if we could get the budget for it. And then I shot a festival in Norway in between the tour, and I was helping a buddy shoot, Olav, and I was like, let's shoot a Snapchat episode for like one of the days. So we like just stacked in a Snapchat episode, and then, so these things were fit in between a very busy schedule. And so that was like a crazy part, like leading up to it. So it was cool. And then I think the party at the very end, like for the launch, was like, the party was really to like slow down and be like, wow, this is amazing. Yeah. Because I think my girlfriend and my Reese was just like, you're just going to work through this and not really like take a moment to be like, yo, you've got a show on Snapchat. It was averaging like 7 million views per episode. 7 million. Yeah. So it was like the top, arguably like the top 1, 2, and 3 piece of content on Snapchat every single time it aired. Yeah. And that's got to be so tough for you. Like you said, like you're spending so much time creating this content. Yeah. And there's weeks and weeks of build, and it's up there for a day. Yeah. And then it's gone. It's crazy. What's cool is Snapchat, like everybody thinks you make content to get like a immediate ROI, you might have this podcast and you might get some like my people that follow me to now follow you, and like you're like, okay, dope, I did a podcast with Jeremiah, like I got 20 new followers, I got 100 new followers, whatever. Like, so you do the Snapchat show, like I was getting like 100 followers on Instagram from Snapchat. Like 7 million people saw it, but only 100 were following my Instagram or other channels. So they're like, there isn't that connect. Like they were paying for the activities and I was getting paid a little bit, but like for the time spent on it, like money was not the reason to be there. Yeah. There's a passion for it, obviously. The opportunity. But what it is like everybody knows Snapchat. Nobody has a show on it. No. Like you don't know anybody that's doing it. So it was a very unique thing. And like in an industry where I'm constantly trying to diversify myself from Rory's videos from the Chainsmokers, right? Like I don't want to make Rory's videos. Like I'm not Rory. I'm trying to create your own brand, but obviously you have to take advantage of opportunities when they present. So this was a huge win for me to just like create something on a platform that nobody was doing it in a format that nobody was doing. So it's a really like buzzworthy thing. It opens up a lot of doors. A lot of people want to talk to you about it, chat about it. But it was exciting, man. It's like I gave like a little like 5-second speech at the party, and it was just like at the end of the day, like I remember. This was like me, like the dream has always been like to get paid doing cool activities with your friends, and like that's what the show was, you know? And I'm stoked for it. So where I'm actually trying to get like a season 2 approved, Snapchat was very stoked on it. They're actually been trying to get it onto TV. Wow. Which I think is so far-fetched. Like I would not, like if you were like, would you bet against it or for it? I would totally bet against it. Like there's no way it would go to TV. I don't think it's smart to go to TV yet. But it's still, so that's why having that chance of it's in conversation. People are working, like very powerful people are working on getting on TV, and so I'm gonna kind of like chime in this week and be like, yo, let's not pump the brakes a little bit. Let's go do a season 2. Let's have like a good time again. Yeah, keep building it up. See if maybe you know, give it some more legs, and if it makes more sense, then let's go into it. So I'm very excited about that. That is super. What a crazy like. That's what brought me out to Venice was I was editing for another YouTube channel that was being contracted by the same people that produced my show. Yes Theory? Yes Theory. Yeah. And look into their content. Super dope. So I'd filmed, edited, and like kind of co-directed a couple early on episodes, and they were going to release every single day on Snapchat. They were like, that's impossible. Speed. Let's do it 3. Well, we were editing for 5 episodes a week type of thing. And so that's when I was driving 2 hours in. I was editing a full episode, a 5-minute episode every single day, off of an activity and something that I didn't shot because they were backlogged. So like they were like, hey, we went to Japan, we did this day, it was crazy, this was the climax, but we'll make a cool video. And I was just like, had no context. And then I basically left that and went freelance. The day that I left there, I shot the Closer lyric video with Rory, which has like 1.9. Yeah, look today. I forgot views. To mention that earlier. 1.9 billion views. Yeah, and you were part of that. Yeah, that's huge, man. That's a lot of eyeballs. So that was like my first like, yo, I'm leaving my like consistent paycheck, and I'm gonna go do my own thing. And this was like the first thing that landed, and it's like it was such a statement piece. Kept a relationship there with producers. I ended up climbing the tallest building in Los Angeles with Sam Kohler, Taylor Cut Films, and Matt Como. Is that the Korean Tower? Yeah, Korean Air Tower. Savage. It was under construction. We didn't know. I didn't know it was the tallest building. I don't think any of us knew. I think it's the tallest in like west of the Mississippi. Yeah, Western Hemisphere. Huge, man. It's and we climbed the top of it, and like we went up. Like they have a rooftop bar up there right now,
Yeah.
and like we climbed higher than where the bar is because there's like
Savage.
scaffolding type stuff.
So you're like climbing up where construction workers are going.
Yeah, and we shot some, and I filmed. Everyone's taking photos, and whenever I'm around like a ton of people that are just like everyone's got cameras, I kind of shut down because I'm like, I don't like this is so over the top. Like I don't want to shoot the same thing. So I started shooting everything vertical on my camera because I was like, I've got this Connect over at Snapchat. I've wanted to do a show. I'm going to shoot this vertically and in video, and I'm going to cut something together and send it over. And the producer was like, this is insane. He's like, my palms are sweating.
You guys weren't supposed to be up there, right?
Let's grab a beer. No, not at all. I'm pretty sure the founder, we drew some things on one of their whiteboards, and I think we posted photos, and I think because Sam Colder and Taylor had such big followings, they were like, yo, we saw you up on our building. Like, I'm not going to say anything, but like, do not come back.
Don't do that
so
again.
I think they did 2 nights in a row.
Wow.
I was only a part one night. And so that kind of got my intro, and we brainstormed what my series would be. And after a big, I think it took like 8 months to really fine tune what it was, get contracts, and get like all on the same page.
Yeah.
It was like 8 months before we actually did some 9 months.
A lot of people don't realize the amount of time. Like, that's even interesting for me to hear
Yeah.
that it's taking that much time to finally give you the green light. And here we go. Here's the content,
Yeah.
September 23rd. 9 months of work, of communication,
Definitely.
of how are we going to roll this out? Does this make sense for the brand, this and that?
100%.
And that is...
And Dave was a huge part of it, like Dave Lingwood from Very Life.
Yeah.
Like I think I would have just signed contracts and moved forward, but like Dave got me more money. Dave got like a lot. Like he made this show. Like if I would have just signed, there wouldn't be a season 2 because of the format. It was supposed to be called Off Limits, and it was supposed to be trespassing or breaking the law in some sort.
Talk about promoting.
It wasn't like on paper like that, but Dave was like, that's what the show is going to become.
Yeah.
Because you're going to run out of things to do, and it's called Off Limits, and you're doing everything that's off limits. He's like, you're going to get caught, hurt, or killed.
Yeah, not something you want to be
So
doing.
we called it Without Limits, and it's just like more like living life to the fullest.
I like that.
And there's kind of like that off limits side. Like we do some like things that aren't
Too
necessarily
crazy, but you definitely do more
Yeah.
stuff that's just
Yeah.
way out there.
Exactly.
Talk to me about doing this IG collaboration, which I think is really smart. At 10K, you started. You would just take people that were following you, that were part of your IG community. They'd submit clips. You'd make a 1-minute video,
Yeah.
post it. You did it at 50K. Now you're about to do it at 75K. Why go the extra mile to do this for the community, people following you? You're busy enough.
Yeah.
You're doing enough content of your own
Definitely.
brand and your own creation. Why essentially give back to the people that are supporting you?
Yeah. I mean, part of it was like when I first was starting to grow my social, I think up until 10K, I made a rule. I was like, I'm going to respond to every DM and every comment because that's where
You want to build something.
I want to build something, but that also like that's where I came from.
Yeah.
Like somebody like Rory and a lot of other people were responding and giving me the shot. Where it's just like everybody deserves like communication.
100%.
It got to a point where like I can't respond to everyone.
Yep.
A lot of the stuff's like regurgitated. It's more effective for me to do a podcast with you and answer a lot of questions.
Just send him the line. Send him the
exactly.
video.
Or do YouTube Q&As type of thing. But
Back to the value.
definitely
Back to understanding the value.
Yeah, and this 10K thing was really like to give back, to like give people a chance to see their footage. But a lot of people are, hey, can you check out my edit? Which is like, yo, send me your edit and I'll make a doper edit with it in there. And so it was a part of like to kind of like give back and say thank you, and then also to say like I'm like in tune to like the people that aren't with huge followings. But then also just like from a creative standpoint, like nobody was doing it, right? Like it's very like against the grain in the sense of like I'm not getting paid for it. Like nobody wants to go through other people's footage. Like it just doesn't make sense. And so that's like, if you look at anything that's working and being innovative, like that's what you do. Like in investing, you go against the grain. Like you buy when everyone else is selling and you sell when everyone else is buying. And so it's like, nobody's doing this. Like I'm going to dive into this. And it's from a marketing standpoint, it's a no brainer. Like if I included your footage, like, you know, you're going to want to share.
I'm going to show everybody.
Yeah.
For the next month.
100%.
I'm going to show everybody.
And like, imagine like kids that are like trying to convince their parents to give like invest in a camera, that have the means to give them a camera. They're just like, you're not going to do anything. Like, this is a dumb career. But they're able to be like, yo, look at this guy who tours with the Chainsmokers, and like he used my clip that I shot on my cell phone in his video, and it got thousands of views. Like, I could be doing this.
Yeah.
Then they're just like, what? Like, they can leverage
It
that
opens up the
piece
door, the
for
conversation.
Sure. Yeah, 100%. And so, yeah, it just wasn't being done. And then when I kind of started thinking about it, I remember telling my girlfriend, Reese, and a couple other people, I was like, this is going to be huge.
Yeah.
Like, other content creators are going to knock this off,
Yeah.
which is fine. Like, go for it. But this is going to be huge for content creators. So I was like, and also brands, like, are going to want to do it so bad. And so what's cool is actually brands have picked up on it. So Movement watches, they're based in Santa Monica. They're 4.5 years old, founded off of Indiegogo support.
Wow.
Which is a crowd-based concept. So it was like, they hit me up and like, we're celebrating our 4th year anniversary of being in business. We'd love for you to do a collab edit with our community. And we want you to host it. We want your name on it. We want you to announce it. We want like people to know that you're editing it. And I got paid to make a video for this community. So it was just like, and that's what got my foot in the door. They were like, we saw your 10K edit. Let's grab dinner. And we got dinner and they were just like, you're hustling. You're scrappy. Like, that's our brand. Like, amazing.
You know what's funny is, we were talking about Jordan Wazzy earlier, MGK's guy. And one thing he said in his podcast that really stuck with me is that he enjoys taking whatever he has of content and making the best of it.
Yeah.
So he might have scrappy footage like you're talking about. And how can I maximize this? What can I do? Can I add a little bit of coloring? Can I just make this a quick, like, 2-second clip, but still utilize it?
Yeah.
You know, taking the clips of the kids that are sending in, or this company that wants you to take their clips. How can I use what I have and make something
100%.
amazing out of it?
And that's the whole craft.
Yeah.
In reality, it's just like, what do I have access to? A lot of people go, I can't travel to these crazy destinations. What's funny is, like, I always give the analogy, like, I don't shoot Venice a lot, right?
It's too easy. It's right outside.
It's right outside.
Yeah.
But if people coming over from Europe and London and Norway, they come and they visit Los Angeles and they go to the West Side, what are they shooting? They'll spend a whole day shooting Venice Beach because it's that iconic and there's so many cool spots and it's just like that beautiful. But here I am steps away from the boardwalk and it's like, I'm not shooting it. And it's because we come numb to our own space.
100%.
And so a lot of these people, like, I even think of like a kid like in Africa, like in that has like they might not be living in a village, but there's a village nearby, or they live in slums and they don't have it, or like those DMs are real. Like, people have access now in these slums and like people are DMing you like, I don't come from much, like I don't have, like, if I could travel to the Bahamas, like I would blow up. And it's just like, yo, you live in the slums and a lot of people from America are traveling to where you go. And we're documenting what you have because it's powerful. Yeah. And it's
take advantage of what's around you.
100%. So it's just like, you got to just change your perspective and like flip everything around. A lot of that has to do with our friends too. Like in college, I remember I basically was like almost like an Instagram meet, but it was low key. I was like, hey, I'm going to just take whoever wants to go. I'm going to go shoot in LA on some bridges because I've never shot LA. Like, I just never go into it, never go downtown. Like, I'm going to shoot like some cool bridges for sunset. Yeah. Anybody who wants to come can come. I'm going by myself regardless. And we got like 2 cars filled up. But like half the people there even were still kind of making fun of it. Like, they came, they obviously like wanted to be there, but they weren't fully sold on it. And it kind of was just like, yo, like and a lot of people like made fun of it that didn't go. It was just like, yo, what are you trying to do here? I was like, I know, I'm telling you straight to your face. Like, I just want to take photos. Yeah. Like, please don't come if you don't want to take photos.
Yeah, this is not about you. Then
this is not about like anything more. Yeah. Like, I'm not like, there wasn't even Instagram stories, I think, at the time. Like, we're not like, there was no like, I'm not asking for people to tag me. Like, I was like, I just want to take photos because this is what I want to do. And I'm just inviting my friends. And I realized like a lot of people thought it was weird. And I don't hang out with those people anymore. Like, I'm still tight with them. I can like
have a conversation, say hello when you see them.
Through. Like, if I throw bigger parties, come through. Like, we were tight in college. Like, no harm, no foul. But like, I can't spend I'm not going to live with you.
There's not enough time. Yeah. You have to get things done. When you're spending 40, 70 hours on a video, there's no half hour, let's just catch up on some bullshit. For sure. When there's no...
Or like, even say I got to go into a crazy editing session and like we could have like this awkward conversation how you don't think my creative ability is like there, or you don't think what I'm investing in is good, or it's like a waste of time, or I'm trying too hard on social media. And then that just affects like my creative session. And
kills the energy.
Kills energy, exactly. And it's all energy. It's all like staying in the zone. And so I was like, I'm going to like get out of here and surround myself with people that are doing it,
Yeah.
And now, again, it's like, it's not because I'm like now doing it and I'm making a living off of it and people can see that. It's just like, respect, dude. Like, I knew you always had it.
They want to show you love. When Bobbbaaaay blows up with Purpose in the Youth, I'm going to be getting hundreds of DMs, and I'm going to, you know what? I get it, because there's so much content, there's so much things going on in the world, that if you see somebody that's like chasing after, like, oh, he's just another one in 1,000 kids that's trying to chase it, but then when he hits, everybody wants to talk to you. Everybody wants a piece of the pie. Nobody wanted to talk to Mark Zuckerberg when he was in Harvard, creating Facebook. But now everybody wants to talk to him.
Definitely.
Imagine if you got an interview when he was in Harvard, sitting down when nobody believed in him. It's,
It'd be crazy.
You appreciate stuff like that. Talk to me about, you jump out of planes, man. You jump out of hot air balloons.
Gosh, the dream.
You climb to the peaks of buildings. Describe to me what pushes you to go to that edge. Because I'll tell you right now, if I'm in a perfectly flying plane, I'm not jumping out of it.
Jumping out. Will you never skydive?
Never skydive.
Will you?
I won't say that I wouldn't. I won't say I wouldn't never do it.
He's going skydiving.
So talk to me about what gets you to push you to that edge, because that.
Yeah, what's
the
funny?
Whirlwind.
Rooftoping is becoming very less and less appealing to me.
Because everyone's doing it.
Everyone's doing it, and it's honestly just so stupid.
Let's just climb to the top, take some pictures, and leave.
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
Like it's fun, and like it's unpredictable. Like how sketchy it's gonna be. Not everyone is like so sketchy, and like sometimes I'm like, yo, this is tight. Like this, like there was ladders and there was blah blah blah. But like sometimes people are like, yeah, you've got to like slide down the side of the building and then at the right time jump from that and clear like a 3-foot gap. That like that. I was like, how high is that 3-foot gap? And they're like 46 stories. And I'm like, yeah, I'm good, buddy.
I'm
like
all set.
Like Batman's doing that in his movie. Like I'm not doing that. So like rooftoping is kind of like, I'll do it, but it's got to be someone that's like knows the space.
Yeah.
Like there's like, yo, it's a ladder, it's stairs up to the rooftop, and it's a helipad.
Yeah.
And you're like, sick.
Easy.
Go, let's do it. That's one thing. But then skydiving has been something I've always wanted to do since I was like 14. Like I was begging my parents to like come up with a contract to convince the skydiving drop zone to like let me do it before I was 18.
Yeah.
Didn't happen. I went for my 18th birthday with all my brothers. Like the day I could.
That's
legally
amazing.
Go. And then it's just so expensive, you know.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say it's got to be like at least.
Yeah.
100,
It's
200
like-
bucks a jump.
It's like $3,000 to learn, like
Okay.
school and everything. And that's before you do gear rentals. So like an all day gear rental is like $120, and then your jumps are like 25, 30. So like you jump a couple times, like you're spending
It
like
adds up. It adds up quick.
$200 a day if you don't have your gear. So like you go skydiving for the day. It's like skiing essentially. Like,
yeah. I was just gonna say it sounds very similar to skiing, snowboarding.
and then your rigs are like used anywhere from like $3,000 to $10,000. So like it's no joke. And I've always wanted to do it, but again, it was like out of sight, out of mind. Like I don't have the money for it. I'm not like dying to go necessarily. I really want to, but it wasn't like I was going tandem all the time and getting a taste of it. So
Yeah.
it really wasn't like at the forefront of my mind. But I knew I wanted to do it, and then I started making. I just like grinded, made some decent money, and I did some like bigger like corporate projects that made me some quality money. And I was like, you know, it. Not only do I really want to do it, but it's almost like a business move.
It's an investment. It's an investment in yourself.
Yeah, because I'm a content creator, and we're in this world where everybody needs to diversify themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, nobody in my scene right now is skydiving and doing it. You know, so I was like, I'm gonna start skydiving. Like this is like a good investment move. And then as a freelancer, I could write this off because I can work with brands and start getting paid to skydive with their product or making videos for them. So now everything skydiving is a write-off, and even just fun jumps. Like you have to, if I don't jump for 2 months, I have to get like an instructor to jump with me to get like refreshed.
Oh, so you have to keep jumping.
So like you have to keep jumping. So like every time I go,
What a concept this is.
You
What
know,
a
I was
concept.
like, this is legitimate. Like I could go for fun, but really it's me staying current.
Yeah.
Right. And so all this can be, you know, and then you need different, you know, like to jump out of a hot air balloon, you need like 50 jumps, like minimum. Like to start doing wingsuits, you need 100 to like, you know, to start.
There's
base
levels
jumping.
to it.
Yeah. So it's just like whatever you want to do, like you just need a certain amount of jumps. And so it's just like I can always be building towards that and justifying more and more jumps financially for business expenses, which is crazy. Like I've spent so much money on skydiving recently, and it's all
It's coming back to you, though. If you're getting business coming
100%.
in, it's something you always wanted to do.
Definitely.
Diversifying you. Is there anything you won't do?
I
know you said you won't. You know, the Batman jumping from roof to roof.
I'm not gonna base jump. I don't think base jumping. You have one parachute. and you're jumping so low that you don't have time to inflate a second parachute. So we're skydiving, something goes wrong with the first one.
You have a second one
I
backed
can
in.
pull the reserve, and it's packed by like a professional. Every 180 days, it's checked or repacked. So they unfold it, check all of your lines and everything.
Okay.
They refold. So you're like, your reserve is like pretty
You feel
chilling.
good. You feel good.
Spring loaded, so it shoots out of your bag faster. It's also connected to a computer in your backpack that if you're at like 1,000 feet going over 75 miles an hour,
It pulls.
it automatically ejects it out of your backpack. So
Okay.
you could be knocked out in the air and like
Oh,
you're gonna
wow.
have a good.
Makes you
parachute
feel a
over
little
your
bit better.
Yeah, well, it's just like it's thought through, you know, like
Yeah.
it's a sport that like people are actually thinking about. So, but base jumping is like, you know, it takes about 1,000 feet for your parachute to like inflate, and you're jumping from 1,000 feet. So it's like
You jump and pull.
you jump and pull, or they have smaller parachutes that come out faster, and there's less material, so it gets out faster. But with that, there's no room for an extra parachute. So it's kind of dumb. But what's funny is I'm actually going to be working on a documentary, I think, soon, where I'm going to be documenting some base jumpers.
Damn.
Yeah.
Are you gonna have to jump with them to get the
No, I'm not gonna
documentation?
do
You know
it.
how-
They want me to, but I told them I wouldn't do it.
That's not what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
You had an Instagram caption that said, "Do what you can't." Very simple.
Yeah.
But there's got to be something to it. Elaborate on.
100%. A lot of that credit goes to Casey Neistat.
He's the man,
He's
dude.
the man.
He's the
Have you
man.
seen his video? He did like a commercial. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. It's called "Do What You Can." It's literally the title of it. I think is "Do What You Can."
Who was the commercial for?
It was, I think it was branded with Samsung, but it was very much so like, this is Casey Neistat. Samsung had like a logo at the end. And
Okay.
It was like, it was more.
I don't think I saw it. I see a lot of his content, but obviously he's posting so much
He
that
like
it's easy
walks
to
in
miss.
with like a suit, and he says, he said like, this is for like, or he opened it up with 3 quotes from teachers. It was just like, wait your turn, learn to compromise, like stick to what you're good at. And he's like, this is all bad advice, or like, this is what I was told growing up, and is like such bull crap. And he's like, this video is for you. And so he basically just told about like going against the grain, and it was for the creators that like the people with no budgets, the people shooting on their phones, the people making their own camera rigs, like the people like lighting their studios with like lamps that they use for their bedroom. Like, he's like, you guys are the ones making it. You guys are the makers. You're the creatives. You guys are the ones hustling. Like, you are the internet right now.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is for you. And it's branding Samsung's like phone being like a really good
Of course.
camera. But it based, and at the end, he was just like, we live in a world where nobody knows what they're talking about. Like, actually. And he was just like, do what you can. Like, I think the ending was like kind of like a Nike, like, just do it. He was just like, do what you can. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I'm a firm believer that like 90% of people that you're emailing right now, like trying to collaborate with or like getting notes back from on a creative vision, like they really don't actually know.
Yeah.
Like they don't know. Like
Yeah.
agency, like think about like an agency, a creative agency. They're 30 to 40-year-olds. Those people didn't grow up with Instagram.
No.
You know, like they don't.
And a phone that's capable of producing 1080p content.
They don't like, and they know from paper and from reading, but they don't know. Like they don't know how their audience. They like an agency would rather have you do a scripted caption with tons of hashtags and stuff because more people are going to click on it, blah, 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 than have you write an organic post. And they don't realize that the organic post is going to drive more to their one tag versus littering it. And
Everybody can read through
because
that.
a 12-year-old's going to go through it and say, oh, that's an ad, and keep going.
Yeah.
A 12-year-old. And so
Yeah.
it's just like, and this 32-year-old that's a senior, you know, executive is like, at this creative agency doesn't get it because they don't know how it works. So I was just like, oh my gosh, like people don't actually know.
Yeah.
They do, and they get that vibe, and you just often come into an environment like without a lot of context, and you just think they like really know.
It's a hell of a time to be alive, man.
Yeah.
You don't need much, and then we've talked about it a couple times, but I hope that people really get that, is that just make use of what you have,
For sure.
and find a way to just stand out.
And those are the people that are doing like the coolest stuff, and it's like it's become respectable if you own it.
Yeah.
So like you could have come in here and been like, yo, dude, like I've got this like badass like podcast, and we crush it, and it's like thousands of listeners, like I'm making dough, blah, 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 like this baller. But in reality, you're like, dude, I'm just grinding. This is my passion. Like one day this is going to be the biggest podcast. But in reality, like right now it's me, backpack, some dope mics. I'm going to set this up. And we're going to
Let's get it going.
And it's like respect.
Yeah.
Or you could have came in like all cool, which is fine. But then I would have sat here thinking like, this guy's got podcasts figured out, blah, blah, blah. And then if you ever slip once, I would have lost all respect out the door.
100%.
And so it's just like
it's important to be real and be honest. And we talked about it before the podcast of just telling your truth. And I try to make sure that through my Instagram posts, through my tweets, my Instagram story, YouTube, podcasting, like people are getting to know my story of just I'm out here grinding. I drive Uber full time.
Hell yeah.
I try to make it work. And that is one thing that I pride myself on, because when I know I'm about to be one of the top podcasters in the world, I have all the documentation that I started with just an audio podcast. Then we got a little GoPro. Then we got a budget to have a cameraman. Then we got our first office. Like I can paint the full picture of you see all the steps I took, like anybody else, like you buying a camera and then DMing, and then it's just a process. It's just a journey, and that's important for people to kind of hear. Do you think we need to have it all figured out, or should we just go with the flow?
I just did a video called No Game Plan.
I know you did, and that's why I asked the question.
There it is.
I didn't want to directly ask
you.
You
did your research.
Of course, man.
Yo, so, going back to like Chainsmokers, Drew Taggart, like, I asked him, I was like, yo, you said this thing that was like a quote, like needs to be painted on a canvas and hung up. And I was like, asked him about it like a day later, and he's like, I have no idea what I said. Just to give you insights of like Drew is a songwriter, but he's a poet sometimes when he's talking. But he was just like, I think he basically was like, we didn't even like when we were writing Roses, like we knew what we wanted to do, but like we didn't know the greater picture. We didn't like we could be like, we want to make this type of song, but that's so like narrow thinking. They didn't know the bigger picture, and he's like, that's kind of fine. Like if you know what you want to make today and tomorrow and this week, like great. But like if you don't know what the rest of 2018 looks like awesome, great. That means you don't have like a script.
Yeah. And
that script can be like way beyond your mind. Like my mom like told me like right when I moved out, she was like, you should write down some goals. And my mom's never told me that. And I was like, are you worried about me? Like, you don't even worry. She's like, no, like it's just like you're in an exciting time. Like, and she's like, I want all those goals to be something that you don't actually think can come to life.
Yeah.
And like, one of them was like make $100,000, like blah, blah. And she was like, do like, I know, she's like, I know you don't like really care about money right now, but like put a money one down. Like, just like guess how much you're gonna like put something that's like absurd in your mind and all this stuff. And like all of them came to life. Yeah. And it was just like, oh my gosh. Like you could say like you're right now, you're like, I got the biggest podcast in the world. What if I told you had the biggest TV show? And like you would like now you don't know if you're going to be doing TV, but in a year, that's where it could go. Yeah. And so like, it's cool to have, that you want to run with this podcast, but like saying like, and you have big audacious dreams, but to like iron it out and be like, I'm going to interview 50 people this year, 100 people this year. I'm going to do this. Yeah. I'm going to do this. Like, like that's also almost like setting yourself up for failure because you're not going to do them, but it also could just blow up. Like you cannot do them, but they could be way bigger. So
I think it's important to have like those goals right now. Like I want to give a TED Talk. I want to have a Netflix series one day. Love to have a TV show. I told you before, I'd love to have a cameraman where I'm doing like before interviews, like little videos. Sick. I think it's important to have like a list of things that kind of motivate you to, like the bigger picture of what you're chasing after, but also knowing that opportunities pop up at any moment in time. Yeah. I could get a phone call today that I never imagined, but at least I was always working towards those big goals, those things that, who am I to say, can I have a Netflix series? But then in 4 years, and I'm like, I had this written down 4 years ago, and it was just something that I was chasing after that.
That's awesome.
You know what I'm saying? So
it's like, it's all like crazy audacious things.
Yes.
But you're not like,
I'm not set in stone.
This is how I'm doing it.
Yeah.
100%.
I know that.
And like that reminds me of like Rory. Rory's always like, yo, I've always dreamed about having a TV show. And I'm like, really? I didn't know that. Yeah. He's like, oh, I didn't like talk about it, and I didn't have like an A to Z plan. Yeah. But like it was always a dream of mine. And I'm like, that's dope.
I quickly looked at his website last night when I was getting this ready, and there was something that right on his like landing page, it was about, I put in my time. Yeah, I put in I put in my work, where we see the end result and we see all these people, these influencers that we look up to and want to be like, and we forget that they started at nothing. They started at, like his father, real briefly, I guess, drove him out to California. And I mean, just looking at his content real quick, I was like, if he can do it, anybody can do it. 100%. You just have to put in the work. That's all it is just grinding. Definitely. What do you think Jeremiah's purpose is?
Wow, that's deep.
Purpose in the youth, baby.
I should have saw that one coming. I also think that's another thing where it's like I could have audacious goals and like a purpose, but I feel like that's almost also limiting. I think I have like a narrow purpose, and I think the immediate purpose, like for now, is again like talking to the younger, like my audience of like the recent high school and college grad that's like looking for like affirmation, confidence, and like proof that escaping the 9 to 5 or doing what they want to do and that their passion could be their main source of income is totally possible. And I'm doing that by kind of like cutting a lot of the BS. And so I think that's like my immediate purpose. Down the road, like, you know, whether that's huge talks, whether that's TV, whether that's being behind the camera and never being seen again, like I'm open for it all. I think we'll grow, and I think something big will happen, but what that is, I'm not sure yet.
You don't need to have it planned out, but you know, when you're getting up every morning, you're being an example to people, whoever, the 10,000, the 20,000, 50,000, the 100,000 people that follow you, you're an example to them that I graduated college, didn't know what I was going to do. And that's why, like, I was just so, I get stoked for every podcast, man. Don't get me wrong. But like when I researched and saw, I was like, he graduated the same year as mine, like me. He like went against the grain. I was like, this is my man. This is the podcast I need, because
hell yeah, I love that.
You're a living example of exactly the process that I'm going through right now. Before I get into, go ahead.
I was just saying, it's cool, like seeing someone exactly like they graduated your year. They're doing, and they're like doing something very, very similar in a different scene. Like podcasting is not what I'm doing, but it's like, I mean, at the same time, we both graduated, and you went one way, I went another way, and we're out here. Yeah,
we're out here in LA, living a good life.
It's respect.
Before I get into closing questions, this is when I reverse the role. Allow my guests to ask me any one question.
Amazing.
Could be anything you want. Only two things. One, it cannot be about the podcast.
Okay.
Two, it can't be a question that I asked you today.
Ooh,
and when I say about the podcast, it just can't be about, I guess, the journey. Maybe it could be, I actually just stay away from the podcast.
Okay.
Because I've gotten a lot of questions within that. And it can't be a question that I asked you today. Any one question, anything you want.
Let me start. Let me cheat halfway. And it's super brief. We're going to dive into it like heavy. But who do you want? Who's a dream person to get on this thing? Because I want to help you. That's why I want to like advocate and like do my side.
I think right now, and this would be cool to document it, because now it's in a podcast, and now I'm like, all right, I have to make this happen. I was talking to you before, is drama.
Sick. Dude, let's get you in on drama.
What's crazy is that when I was going through the process of launching my podcast, hadn't launched until August 31st, but all that summer of 2016, I knew the vision. It's going to be this. It's going to be passionate people. I was in the process of trying to brand it and get the guests. And at the beginning of summer, I see him launch a podcast, short story long, doing exactly what I wanted to do.
Amazing.
And I was listening to the episodes early on. I had a couple in my bag already done. And I was like, this is what I want to do. And I was like, this is great. He's been an inspiration to me. I've seen some of his it worked out great for him because he's in this network of amazing, talented people. And I just see him working in the guests. He's had Rory. He's had some amazing past guests. But to him, for me, I know it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. And whether it happens tomorrow or if it happens in 6 months,
sick.
Whenever the time is right.
Like, I don't need you, dude. I'm just going to happen.
I don't need to. I'm going to fucking build my empire from the ground up.
Love it.
When it's meant to happen, it'll happen.
That's epic. Okay, so then my other question is, what was like the biggest hurdle that you had to get over, whether it was like financials, relationships, like just the ability to do it, to get out to LA? Like what? Because I'm a firm believer that like your location and proximity is like 80% of like your growth.
Yes, because you can connect dots.
I live 2 hours away from where I am today in west side of Los Angeles, but it's like being in West LA, like I got that G-Eazy thing happened because I was in Los Angeles. I shot the second time for G-Eazy because they called me at 11 p.m. and said, could you be in downtown in LA at 12 to shoot?
In an hour.
Yeah, in an hour. And I was just like,
I'll be there.
Went home, like batteries were charged, and I just blitzed. But I was like, well, if I lived where I used to live, I would have made it.
Yeah.
And they would have had another guy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what's the biggest hurdle? Because I feel like so many people are trying to get over those hurdles.
Yeah, I mean, I got so lucky moving out here.
Sick.
And definitely going from Massachusetts to LA, we're talking the farthest east possible to the farthest west possible in the U.S. I was fortunate. Over the years, I had visited LA like 4 or 5 times.
Sick.
The year between graduating college, before I moved out here, I had made some friends touring that lived in LA. So I had a friend group. So I visited the city, knew what I was walking into. I had friends that were already living here. I had one of my best homies I was moving out here with. So I already had somebody I was living with, and
Sick.
one of his homies from college knocked that off. So living is good. I was driving Uber in Boston. I knew I needed a way to make an income out here. Boom, transfer everything out here. Had a way to make money. I walked into literally the best scenario possible. And like I said, just having
Did you like doing Uber?
it's great. I mean, I'm a people's person. Clearly, I like to
Yeah,
talk.
Yeah.
I'm trying to create something that's based on other people's time. That's why I'm able to just come here in the middle of whatever day of the week. I lose track of the days of the week. It's Tuesday.
100%.
It's 2:50 in the afternoon. It gave me that flexibility to work around
100%.
my opportunities, and it allows me to pay my bills. So I'm super thankful for Uber, because if I didn't have that right now, I have no idea how to be able to make this work.
The crazy part is everybody has access to Uber.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yes.
As long as you can get a car, some sort, like you're paying your bills, and like, I don't know, I feel like a lot of your audience, a lot of people that are going to be watching, a lot of my audience is like, how can I get
if you're 21 years or older, you should be driving Uber. If you're trying to create a business, trying to be a vlogger, trying to be a podcaster, trying to do anything, this is what you should be doing, because I can't even imagine what I would have done if you said, hey, I'm only going to be here Tuesday at noon, and then I'm like leaving tomorrow, and I'm strapped at a desk job. No offense to desk jobs, but I'm strapped at a desk job, and I can't get out of it.
Especially for people that are trying to make moves and build a network and stuff.
When
like,
you're relying on
flexibility.
Especially when I'm like relying on people's time because I need to capture stories, I want to work around whatever is best for them. I work a lot of Friday and Saturday nights till midnight driving around all these drunks out here. Yeah. But it's worth it because I know the long play of where this is gonna go. So I got so lucky moving to LA, man. I mean, everything lined up. And like I had said earlier, I always wanted to live here since I was a kid. So you want to talk about all the stars aligning? Bro, when I
just have a great attitude towards it. I feel like some people still would just, there's got to be something.
When I pulled in, when we drove across country, 7-day trip, amazing. It's all documented. I got vlogs for days on that. When I pulled into we stopped in Vegas the night before. We were kind of getting towards LA, and then it said now it was starting to show like Los Angeles. I had California Love by Tupac bumping. I was all like feeling. I was like, yo, I'm ready to kill this town. They don't know who's coming in, but I just been loving it ever since, man. It's just been amazing, and it's super dope because this is where everybody is. Amazing. Especially when you're trying to capture like passionate young stories. 100%. This is it. Closing questions.
Yeah.
I want you to imagine there's a picture frame on the wall.
We need a picture frame.
We definitely need a couple picture frames.
We do.
10 years from now, you're in the picture frame. What and who else do we see in that picture 10 years from now?
You see a team of people. It's like the post-production photo of you just conquered some massive creative project, whatever that looks like.
15 box trucks in the background. The whole production.
Something crazy. Whether it's production or a TV show, it could be a epic retreat of like all my friends going on vacation and we're just like celebrating the previous year. Mm-hmm. But half of those people are still like day one homies. I think that's a big thing for me is like I live with my college roommate. He's like my day-to-day manager.
So dope.
I don't have like a lot of very, very close people that are still from college, but those people that are still there, it's like I want those people to always be there, and I always want to make sure like I'm constantly networking my new audience, but like not forgetting about the people that were like super supportive from day one. So 10 years would love for those people.
Oh, it's gonna be
like,
dope, man.
Whether we're married or we're kids or whatever, it's just like they're still there. We're still making it happen.
Yeah, goes back to just going with the flow, see where the world takes you, but know that you're gonna be surrounded by good 100%. People doing some dope stuff. Where can people find you on social media if they don't follow you already?
That One Blonde Kid.
That One Blonde
everything.
Kid.
And blonde is spelled without the E, which is not actually that complicated. Just That One Blonde Kid, blonde without, which actually is the more grammatically correct term. It refers to a male blonde when you spell without an E, which nobody actually knows. That One Blonde Kid on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
Yeah. Before I ask the last question, thank you for taking the time to do 100%. This, man. This was super dope, and still being very familiar to your content, only following you since the last 5 months and just seeing what you put out, you are for sure an example of somebody that is crushing it, that works his ass off, And it's super dope to connect with somebody that's my same age, same story. And I can only imagine where 2018 is going to be for you. So fucking keep crushing it. Last question for you. What 2 to 3 pieces of advice would you give to somebody that's listening today? Doesn't have a passion, doesn't have a purpose, trying to figure that out. What would you say they do?
If you're toying with the idea of creative fields, create every day, because you're going to learn very quickly whether you hate it or like it, or you'll learn how to fine tune it. Basically, creative process is trial and error. So the quicker you can get to having 100 projects under your belt, the quicker you're going to find out what you really don't like and what you really do like. I think that's huge. 2, produce things as fast as possible. Like your concept of busy is very subjective, and it's busy is way bigger than what you actually think it is.
Yeah.
So redefine what busy is for in your life. And 3 is take care of the people that are closest to you.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah.
Jeremiah Davis, that one block it, baby.
Yo, you're like the motivational speaker of the century, and I'm hyped for the day now.
Let's get it, baby.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on the show, man. We'll catch you guys next time.